On this episode of Slightly Average Guys, we bring you up to speed on where we're at in fantasy football, what we've been up to, including camping, and was Amazon Prime Day a flop?
Welcome back, you lovely people. Welcome to another week of your Slightly Average Guys. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate you tuning in. Again, follow us on any type of your podcast platform, and you can also watch us face-to-face or as much as possible on YouTube as well. Welcome back, guys.
I've been a little sick lately, a little under the weather.
Is that better? Is that better? A little frog in my throat there.
Ow.
You know,
Ow.
up the production quality. Yeah, you know, it's
That guy.
oh yeah, you know, slow clap it. Slow clap it, Andy. It's been good. Been good. Andy, how you doing?
Living the dream, man. I don't know whose dream, but I'm living a dream. So
you're essentially saying you're in the Matrix.
I'm some sort of simulation, and
Okay.
I don't know. There's a glitch. There's a virus.
They came out with some report recently. I literally read this like 3 days ago that said like there's a 50% chance that we're like actually living in a simulation.
Hmm.
I'm like, well, who controls
Interesting.
it? Yeah, I was like, that's some wacky stuff. Anyway,
This is some Rick and Morty type stuff.
It is.
yeah, we're not pickles yet. No,
I would
Which-
love to be a pickle.
Yeah.
Pickle Rick.
My favorite show, by the way, is Rick and
Hey,
Morty.
Speaking
Yeah,
of which, you
what a
went
great
to
show.
a random event, not recently. This was last year, where there was some odd things happening. Can you explain that a little bit? Because you showed me a video, and I was a little like, I totally couldn't comprehend what was going on.
Yeah. So the Rickmobile was in town, and for those of you that don't know what a Rickmobile is, if you've ever seen Rick and Morty, it's literally just a car with Rick's head on it. I mean, like,
Oh,
Fiberglass.
I was
You know, the
assuming it would be the spaceship, right?
Yeah,
like they're
it's like
mobile.
Oscar Mayer Wiener hot dog car, but Rick's head. So I show up, and I really didn't know what to expect because I'd never been to something like this. And they had this little pop-up store, and you could buy all kinds of really different and random merchandise from the store, T-shirts, whatever. And there was probably about 150 people there, and there was this massive line. Like, again, I wasn't even ready for this. So this guy gets out, whoever's like, running this little show, and he gets on top of it, and he starts yelling out random quotes from Rick and Morty that Rick says.
Wubba dub dub.
Saying that,
Eek barba durka.
yeah, it was like there was some
They were
squawks
off
that came
ones.
out.
Like
It was,
even like Andy, you were even you're like, I don't even know that one, and I watched the damn show. Really?
yeah, it was weird.
Hi,
Like,
Mr. Macy's.
yeah, that I think that came out.
Dude, I got all of them.
It just got weird, so I didn't stay because I thought,
It's Swifty.
yeah, I think that actually came out. He started singing the song, and and there's no music, right? He's just got like a megaphone, and he's just up there in the crowd. Like, the people weren't really into it.
What
but-
on the ground? Shit on
It
the
was
ground.
really like, ironically, the show is too. So that
Dude,
it
Andy,
kinda
you
went-
just opened up a can of worms for me, by the way.
Oh man, listen, we're talking about Rick and Morty all day long. I love that show.
Me too.
What they should have done is like handed out Szechuan sauce, or
That-
traded it for Bitcoin.
I've never actually tried that Szechuan sauce, by the way. But yes, I mean, I know the preference behind that episode. I think, Ryan, you're the one that told me about it.
Yeah, there was something on the internet that said that this girl had a bunch of it at one point when it like made it come back, and she traded it for a car. Now, it wasn't like a fancy car, but it was a running vehicle that she traded some Szechuan sauce
Like
for.
a Toyota Corolla or something.
Yeah, it probably had 182,000 miles on it, but it
Wow.
worked, and she needed a car, and
Let's be real honest here. The three of us know she traded a little bit more for that. That's all we're gonna say. That's all we're gonna say. Okay. Yes. But speaking of cars,
sound effect for that? Is there like a do you have anything for that? Do we have-
I don't have it loaded in here.
Oh, it does.
You're the one with the sound. Yeah, there you go.
No, but that's not fitting for like a
Yeah,
You'd be
very
like,
much not
You
so.
know, they really. There's a random beep for no reason, but just fill it in. Speaking of cars and things, of people driving bad and everything, Ryan, can you explain why it looks like a fox in your apartment has been run over and is currently still dead behind you, rotting away?
Yeah, that's the Car Fox from episode 1 that we were talking about.
Yeah, perfect tie-in. I like that.
He gone.
You go.
No, okay, so let me pull this other one out real quick. This is so Corey loves elephants, right? Corey loves elephants. We get our dog Camo, an elephant toy. Makes perfect sense, right? They get annihilated real quickly. Obviously, this one has its guts hanging out all over the place. It's not looking pretty. Again, follow us and look at our videos on YouTube if you want to see what it looks like. But this they're Gong toys, right? Gong's a massive brand in the dog and the pet industry in general. And we got him also a fox. And I try to play with Camel as much as possible just because it's COVID, it's hot in Phoenix. He doesn't get out much. So I try to wrestle with him and play with him as much as possible. Yeah,
Right.
Excuse me. That
Just
sucker's
looks like a
burnt.
random, you
Yeah.
really picked up the place. I appreciate that.
Yep, that's the Car Fox from the first episode. You're welcome, Carfax. I'm sorry, I keep like burping. Let's make these episodes as real as possible. I'm literally like keep burping. So
All right.
Carfax
So-
is dead.
So to keep in the tie-in, since you're talking about the first episode, let's talk about the last episode. We ended it with talking about fantasy football. This year, I'm not one of those that's actually in a league, which kind of upsets me a little bit. Wish I would have jumped into somebody's just because I have a tendency to do decent. But where are you guys at? It's been a week. Ryan, how about you shoot first here? How's the last week gone for you in fantasy football? You seemed like you were off to a little bit of a rough start with a bunch of zeros.
Yeah, I was literally 0 for 3. And I haven't done fantasy, like I had mentioned, in 8+ years, 7, 8, 9, whatever, around that time frame, which is a long ass time. Like football happens every single year, and to not be involved in a fantasy for 8 to 9 years is a lot. So I start out 0 and 3. I'm pissed off. I'm done. Join fantasy football, they said. It'll be fun, they said. And I'm just sitting here like, you guys are dumb. I gave you guys $100. All the guys in the group are saying, thanks for your donation. Hey, thank you. Like, congratulations. You suck. Can't wait to pick out your costume to run a 5K in. And so I come back, though. After that 0 and 3, I'm now 2 and 3. And at least my projections are to win this week as well.
Good. You've been doing trading. You switched up the players. Like what's your players just finally starting to actually become decent?
So one guy offered to trade one of my not wide receivers, my running backs, and kind of what I had, and maybe Andy, I can show you, but since you're a big, I guess, always trying to make the moves, right?
Yeah.
Like always looking into it type guy. But what I got from my buddy, it was like, dude, I just don't trust people when it comes to trades because how far are they looking ahead? What kind of tricks do they have up their sleeve? And let's talk about trades. No kind of trade happens within a couple days that's fair. These trades take time. They take research, just like they do in the actual NFL, right? These trades take time to make sure they're getting their money's worth, to make sure they're not getting a crap trade. So I just said, you know what? I'm sorry, buddy. I'm not doing this trade. And that's really about it. I kept my normal team. They're performing. I've managed them the same way I've managed them from the beginning. I think my players are just pulling out a little bit, or honestly, it could be who they're playing as well. Maybe our first 3 weeks were a rough week, and now they're starting to play teams that are a little bit more reasonable.
Yeah, I was always horrible at trades too. That's why I think I only ever did one in like 6 years of nonstop back-to-back playing them, just because, again, as I said before, like I'm not that great with knowing each nuances of individual players. So I was the same way. I always felt like I'm probably going to get shafted on this trade.
Yeah, well, Andy, I'll ask you. I'll just bring it right back to you. What is your opinions on trades? Like, me personally, I don't want to do the research to like, am I doing a good trade? He just said he wanted one of my players, and I could have easily came back and said, well, if I'm giving you this person, I want both of these people or something.
Yeah.
Like, what would you do in that situation?
Yeah, so I have 2 approaches that I take. When it's like week 1 through 5, I typically won't ever consider doing a trade because there's so much more football to be played unless there's some sort of behind the scenes motivation, at least in my experience, right? So like you said, there's time that takes to cultivate this, and I've done some back dealings, and I've may or may not have sold gift cards illegally to get trades and whatnot. I'm just hypothetically saying I may have done that. But so past week 5 though, and probably even like week 7 and then getting to 8, because fantasy football only goes to like week 16, I think.
Yeah, I think mine this week for me is like 13. I get 13, I believe.
So I go to about a little right at half of fantasy football or a little over. And then I will go hard on trades on anybody that's a must place, because at that point you aren't going to win, right? But it never happens. Nobody ever trades. So I'm all for doing it. It's just that everybody's so protective of whatever. I don't know why, is maybe they just don't want to lose. It's the humiliation of actually just shitting the bed. I mean, great example. So when we played in our league one year at work, Ryan was just tanking because he was just, there was no way. So he just like had a fire sale on his team, and I was like, "Hey, trade me these guys." Like I made sure I went to him first before everybody else got to him. He's like, "Yeah." So I try to typically wait until there's a player or a team or maybe 2 that are out of it. So like right now in my league, there's only 8 guys. So the top 4 teams are going to make the playoffs. So it's almost harder because you have less people. So I'm 2 and 3, and in my, they group you into 2 divisions, right? So I'm second. I'm tied for second with 3 other guys. Or 2 other guys. So probably in the next week or 2, I'll start going hard on it. But I've already been asked to trade twice, and they're nonsense, right? So, usually the person who's trying to initiate the trade is going to try to get the advantage, because ultimately that's your goal.
Yeah,
anyway.
For sure. I mean, obviously.
If I were to trade, I would do it solely based on schedule and really put the time and effort into the matchup. Like I don't pick a defense when I draft unless I have to, but I'll switch my defense out every week based on matchup, because I feel like you get a better use of your bench roster by just dropping and adding when like if, let's see, who's terrible right now? The Jets, right? So if the Ravens are going to play the Jets and the Ravens defense is available, you better believe I'm going to go get the Ravens defense, because I know for that week they're going to murder the Jets, and then I'll get rid of them and I just do that. But
yeah, so I probably dropped and drafted 2 kickers, and I believe a wide receiver that already dropped. So I've made some moves on my team, but they're not moves from team to team. They're open, right? They're whatever you want to call them. They're available.
Okay.
Free agents.
Free agents. Thank you.
Yeah. Free agents. I'm trying to look and see my activity, but I don't know. I don't like to do the trades in the early part of the season. I don't think there's any value to it, especially because the stuff I've always been offered is just shit, right?
Same. And I have 10 people in our league, and so the lowest guy is 1 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 2 and 3, and there's a whole bunch of people that are just tied right now, right?
Yep.
I think there's 2 people that are 1 and 3, and then a whole bunch of people that are 2 and 3, and one guy's just blowing out the water, and he hasn't lost a game. So, and especially since my teams have at least started to pull some W's out for me, I don't want to get rid of that yet. But yeah, I feel you. As soon as like there's a definitive, some guy's definitely not going to win. He's obviously not just going to sit there and be like, okay, I lost. I'm going to run a 5K costume.
Yeah.
That gets chosen for me. He's going to be like, what can I do so I don't have to do that?
And I've been in leagues too where you were only allowed so many moves, whether you add or drop or trade. And then once you hit that threshold, there was a fee for it, like an actual dollar value. So you not only paid your buy-in, but depending on your roster moves, you could have potentially owed money at the end of the year if you were really, really active. Now, if you won, it's fine because you already have a starting base. And then in our work league, all of our trades had a veto option where it would go out to all the other owners and everybody could veto it. So there was
veto the trade.
Yeah. So anytime
that shit ain't happening.
You had to get like 70% veto though.
We always did it. It didn't matter if it was fair or not. We're like, fuck no, because we didn't trust. So Ronnie was another guy that we worked with, and he would always do these trades, and we're like, we don't trust you because he was the commissioner. So we'd always give him shit that he was sneaking and he was doing stuff. So
which he almost always got the number 1 draft pick too.
Right.
So
And so did our commissioner as well of our league. His name, he called himself Roger Goodell. And guess what? He got the number 1 pick. Like, really? That's like the trifecta of fuck you, dude.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's funny though.
Yeah. So I'm for it. I don't know. Everybody's so weird. I've even played in one league where, when we did the draft, we actually had to have a discussion about trades and, like trying to make everybody's feelings and make it fair. And I was like, I don't want to do this. I ended up leaving the league like week 6 because it was just nonsense, right? So nobody would trade. And the guys that ended up doing the trades was like the first place team was trading with the last place team. And we're like, we know what you're doing. That's not okay. So, it's funny how you want people to trade, but then regardless of the players, there's so many other things that come into it. Ultimately, I think you should almost not have it.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I feel too. You should almost not have it because, 1, you're either getting taken advantage of. 2, you have probably no clue like what's even good or not good as far as a trade goes.
Right.
And then, so the guy who actually requested to trade with me, I'm playing this week.
Interesting. So I think that, with the evolution of fantasy football, there's been so many new things that have come out. For example, there's this thing called the Vampire Fantasy Football League. And from what I understand, the whole idea of this is that, let's say I think you have 12 teams or 10 teams, whatever. So one team doesn't draft, right? And that last team makes their team with whoever's left after it's all drafted. And then you go and you play. But when you play, and if I beat you, I get to take whoever I want from your team.
Damn.
Yeah. So that's an interesting way to go about it, right? Because then you better hope you don't lose. Because if you lose to the guy who was the vampire, it doesn't matter who your best player is, they're taking him. So
yeah, wow.
If you did really well, like 6 or 8 wins in a row, your team could literally be the best team in your league.
Hands down, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think if you have I think it just depends on your buddies. Like if you've got good guys in the league, then I don't think it really matters. But
I know like 3 out of the 10. Yeah. And I've only met like those 3. One of them's a really good friend of mine. The other people, they're like acquaintances.
And then it's a little sketch that he's playing you this weekend and he wanted to trade with you before it. Like that's normally not. Because you're not going to trade with somebody that's potentially could beat you.
Yeah, so he wanted to trade with me, not this Thursday, because today's Thursday, but he wanted to trade with me like last Thursday.
Mm. Okay, so it's less sketch because it's at least 1 week out. But
yeah, I said, I'm not. But I looked at it too, and the guy he plays for the Indianapolis Colts, and he was playing like the Jets or something like that. And I was like, nah, I'm going to see how he does in this one.
Yeah. All right, so update. Fantasy football. Ryan's doing well. Andy, like where are you at currently in your league?
Yeah, I'm 2-3. So my very first win, I had the most points in the league, and I was like, "This is gonna be a good year." And then I lost the next 3 in a row. So then I just won this past week. I don't know.
Hey,
I don't care.
As I've always said when I'm playing, I'd rather lose early on.
Yeah.
Than when you start to get into the playoffs and you.
Not when this guy is 5-0 though. Like, yeah. This guy hasn't lost a game. Like, yeah, okay, there's a clear, definitive winner here.
Could be. As the guy that was always 4-0, and then ended up losing like the next, 3 to 4 games in a row.
All depends on that schedule, baby.
It does.
All depends on that schedule, baby.
Mm-hmm. All right, so fantasy football is something we've been doing lately here. Other things that we've been doing, I personally been camping. Me and Ryan went camping a couple weeks back.
Oh yeah.
Where'd we go?
We went to a beautiful. Totally forgot about it. Totally. No, I got it. We went to a beautiful, for you listeners out there, it was a beautiful Waweep campsite just on the very north side of Lake Powell, Arizona. Up in Page, Arizona as well. It was absolutely stunning. You get there, you drive up at night. It is phenomenal. You wake up to a beautiful view, which you can't see at all. And I hope you listen to this podcast and it be very relaxing for you. And it was just amazing.
Can I get some massage music in the background, please? And then can you redo that?
Anyways, super excited to take you on that camp trip, Ryan. And go ahead with where you want to go.
So,
Oh,
is that relaxing enough for you? That's kind of. I'm not going to mention the R word, but it kind of sounds a little R-y. Anyway, moving on. The camping. So first time for me in a long time, probably 8 years since the last time I was camping. We wanted to do things a little bit different. Because we're taking my 19-month-old son, and I did not have a tent big enough to fit me, my wife, and my son. Plus, because he's younger, probably should stay in a pack and play or something that can contain him, so I don't get slapped in the middle of the night. So went online. Just originally we're like, well, let's just rent like an RV or something that's probably cheap, which you could get a few cheap, and other ones were like horribly expensive. And it came down to like, well, let's see if I can find a tent. Couldn't find a tent cheap that would be big enough to fit all of us. Because I kept looking at it as, well, if it sucks, then I'm out that money. And then I happened to come across this one tent that fits. Actually, I have a Chevy Avalanche, which for those people that don't know, is pretty much a Suburban with the back half windows and seat cut out of it to be a truck bed, but it folds down to be a full-size truck inside. So this tent literally not just fits in the truck bed, but it zips inside and open into the truck. So like we literally were able to put our queen-size air mattress in the back of this truck. Had enough room because the tent fits over the truck, fits over the tailgate. Had hit the pack and play in there with us for him, and it was like freaking amazing. It was like perfect.
And this is going to be another topic for sure. I can already see it. But again, for you people who don't know what an Avalanche is, imagine a traditional pickup truck where you don't freaking have, you have the back seat window which is the start of the bed. The Avalanche literally opens that entire section of the back bed up into the actual cabin of the truck. It's like, what? It's amazing. Like, they're amazing trucks.
The seats fold down perfectly so that way you can do it. And it ends
the
up being a
ride is
full-size truck.
amazing. Yeah, it's absolutely insane, these Avalanches. I still love them.
Yeah,
R.I.P.
I love my Avalanche, and this made me just love it even more just because it was something unique that was different, which in the middle of camping, the second to last day, like me, Ryan, and Ryan's dad are out there, and like all of a sudden, like, starts blowing a little bit and knocked one of the tent things over. So we took our easy up down. As soon as we get the easy up down, like we had this like freak haboob come through, like
legit
so much
haboob.
dust, and like my whole truck, the inside, because it blew through the tent and everything, was full of sand. All your guys' tents were all full of sand.
Our tent has such high vertical walls on it that it's just a kite for the freaking wind, and was literally just whistling and blowing in the wind.
Down almost too, because it was pushing it. The neighbors
turned into a half moon because of the stakes. It was like just freaking like crazy. The other tent and our neighbors, like Ryan was saying, flipped over completely. Luckily, like 2 stakes I think held in. Yeah, this was legit a haboob.
Mm-hmm. So crazy enough, other than that wind story and it being a little bit warm during the day, but it was super nice the rest of the time. Nighttime, it didn't get too cold. It was that perfect temp. And then, so that was a couple of weeks ago. Then we went again this weekend with my in-laws and just us. And we went down to Willett, Arizona, which has like pumpkin patches. I know there's some here in town, but we just like kind of wanted to go camping. So had pumpkin patches, sunflower stuff. So we went and did a whole bunch of different stuff, but it got cold. It was super cold at night, like 42. What I got down to.
So I'm about to do that potentially as well when my buddy comes out here 2 weeks from now, or excuse me, next week already. And it's going to get down to that cold. So like, Ryan, I know that you don't have like crazy amounts of like, like legit camping gear, right? Like you can pay $300, $400, $500 freaking dollars on a sleeping bag, right? Like I know you don't have that. So were you good in what you had? Were you cold? Were you set?
Okay, I would say I was cold, but for one reason. So
Katie stole the color covers.
Yeah, we took we didn't take sleeping bags. We took, basically like a sheet, and then we have this ridiculously like thick comforter, which normally is fine, but it got so cold that since we didn't have anything underneath us other than the air mattress, all you then had was all of the temp going away from your body underneath you from that type of thing. So
Yeah.
definitely got to get something else, to sleep wrapped around with. But other than that, like I was still like okay. I was comfortable. I got a little cold the second night, but the first night I was all right. Can you hear the cat meowing?
No.
Katie just cracks the door open, lets the cat in. Now the cat's like meow, meow.
Yeah, because FYI, the cat is taking a shit in Ryan's room right now.
We're gonna cut this out because that was the most awkward pause we've had so far. So I was just like, why are we opening the door to let the cat in to meow?
The cat wants to chill, brah.
Oh. All right. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so that's what I've been doing. Andy, what have you been doing recently besides more soccer tournaments potentially?
Soccer, not much though. I just hang out. A lot of Call of Duty. Ryan and I and some friends, new friends. And Brian has this like. It was so funny. I was laughing with Anthony the other night. Ryan's like so proud of himself that he's like brought these people together in the video game world, and now we're like video game friends.
Yo. I bring people together. Listen here. I network.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
People helping people.
People helping people.
Holy pants and shirts, man.
Holy
Yeah, it is
pants
pretty
and
crazy
shirt.
though, because like I just have these friends that I play games with, right? And then I come across more people who enjoy video games as well and enjoy I guess the same games. They didn't at first. I had to like get them introduced to the games, especially Apex Legends that I play. But then he started playing. I said, "Hey, you need to play with us," and now we have like this to the T trio. Like it's only us three. On Xbox at least. Like that's all we ever play together. And now it's just crazy because I found out, right, Andy, you play Warzone. I play Warzone now way more than I ever used to. And then Anthony plays Warzone. So it's like literally just it's crazy. It's literally a gaming community is what it is. That's what it is. It's a community. Right. And I've been starting to read articles about these people who have been playing games for so long. They get to know each other. Mm-hmm. They don't actually meet face to face, but they literally start to understand each other, maybe start messaging throughout the day, and maybe they've sent pictures of each other, just being like, hey, this is me and my family, me and my kids. And on my social media platform today, there was like 2 or 3 posts of like, hey, here's this guy who I met 15 years ago playing video games, and he's now the best man. It's a little weird at that point, but he's the best man in my wedding. And I'm like, okay, 1, that is a little bit weird, but 2, that just goes to show you that it literally truly is a gaming community.
Yeah. So a lot of that, and then that's pretty much it. We don't do a whole lot, sadly.
That's
depressing.
Not.
No, it is.
That's pretty much. If I wasn't going camping, I would be doing like this weekend. Let's clarify what I'm doing this weekend. I'm cleaning my garage.
Well, I'm actually super excited that you have been enjoying camping, or at least enjoyed the Wahweap campsite and page. And I really, really, really wanted to go on this one as well, but we had that boating trip, and the boating trip was super fun. Glad I went, right? But super excited that hopefully, I now have new people to camp with type deal. Yeah. Instead of just like Corey and I. And there's nothing wrong with Corey and I. It's just, it's cool to go camping with other people sometimes.
It's like good to switch it up.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
Listen, I have a mountain bike, so one day I'll go with you, but I'm not very good.
And that is okay because I love going mountain biking, and that's honestly a good segue. That's exactly what I've been doing.
Yeah.
The temperatures are starting to drop. I think all this week hasn't even hit 100 in Phoenix, and that's my threshold. Like once it becomes under 100 degrees, I'll go any time of day. Doesn't matter. It's getting there. We're doing it. And so we're going on Sunday. Hopefully I can go in during the week sometime. But there's always pros and cons about, or cooler temperatures in Phoenix. You have the extreme heats, which sucks. But guess what? It doesn't get dark out until like 9 o'clock, which is amazing in some aspects, depending on, what you do in life. And now it's getting super cool and it's beautiful. I roll my windows down when I drive. and it gets dark at 6.
Yeah, 6:05 is on the sunset.
Like, damn it, I get off work at like 4:35, 4 o'clock, somewhere around there. And it's just a pain because you can't really do the things you want to do during the day because now that it's cooler temperatures, the day is now gone. The day is shorter. For those people who are listening in other parts of the country, here in the United States, we don't change time zones.
Mm-mm.
We are stuck in the same time zone. When the East Coast is 3 hours ahead, we're the same. When the East Coast is 2 hours ahead, we're the same. And vice versa for California and Western states. When they're an hour ahead and behind, or the same time, we're the exact same. We literally don't change time. So it's a little bit frustrating.
Because if we did change times, we would actually be changing the opposite way that everybody else is.
Yeah.
Everybody else is trying to gain or lose an hour. We're trying to go the opposite direction to have it get darker sooner because it's already dark or light too damn long.
Yeah. It's absolutely crazy.
It's just totally backwards from where everybody else is.
For sure. So to Andy, to your point, you come in mountain biking, you're not very good. I don't give a shit because I'll go mountain biking by myself and I'll go as fast as I want to and, push myself as hard as I want to. But then I'll ask Corey to go mountain biking with me and she's, oh, you just go ahead and you just go ahead. No, like I'm just enjoying being here. Yeah. I'm enjoying riding. That's all I want to do is just ride. And I don't care if I'm just putzing around, I really don't. It's just cool to get outside, be on a mountain bike, going a little bit faster than walking speed and just exploring. So absolutely. Come on board.
I've gone like maybe a handful of times and, I get excited when I've gone like 2 miles and I'm like, okay, it's probably good enough. I'm going to turn around. And then I'm exhausted. Sometimes I have to walk. In fact, I went to South Mountain.
Oh,
right before Corona, right?
Okay.
We got up at like 5 a.m. We went, and it was packed.
Any idea of the trail?
I don't remember, but it was like it wasn't like a beginner trail, but I don't think it was like a moderate trail. It was somewhere between beginner and moderate, but it was very long. It was like 8 miles one way.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So it was technical.
Was it very up and down, like just?
Yeah. So when you first started, it was kind of this small incline and then there was a lot of dips, but then where I ended up stopping, it kind of leveled out and just kind of went for a bit. Just, it seemed flat, but I didn't go past that. So, I was with 2 other guys and I was like, you know what, you guys go ahead. I had hurt my leg playing softball anyway. So I was like, I'm just going to go back and take my time and just whatever. So I'm just walking and this woman walking her 2 dogs, she stopped. She's like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, it's just nice out. I'm just enjoying being outside. She's like, okay.
Are you okay?
Yeah. And she's like, okay, well, do you want some company? And I'm like, sure. So this woman was probably like in her 60s and she had 2 dogs. She had one on a leash. I don't know what kind of dog it was. It was like a medium-sized dog. And then she had another dog. I'm pretty sure it was a pug, but it was in a baby carrier on her chest. And yeah, but it wasn't like the traditional baby carrier things. It was like, have you ever seen where like the baby's like wrapped in this big scarf thing looking deal?
It's like those. I was gonna say something. It might have been pretty inappropriate.
Yes. So she had the dog in that, and then I was like, "So what's wrong with your dog?" And so at this point, I'm like walking my bike back, and she's just telling me all about her dogs, and they were rescues and like all this stuff, and so, I was just like, all right, well, I'm just going to go get back on my bike and I'm going to ride my bike now. Thanks a lot, random lady on the mountain bike trail with your dogs. It goes, so I just got back and I sat in the car in the back of the truck for like 40 minutes while they finished, but it was just so nice to be outside, and
absolutely.
Yeah. So
does the Desert Classic sound familiar?
Might be. It was, like I said, it was like 8 miles.
It's a long ways. You can go for a long time.
Yeah.
And yes, it'll be about that. And that's actually one of my goals. So I want to this winter go down and back on the Desert Classic, which will be around 16 to 17 miles.
Yeah.
And then also on the Trail 100 here in Phoenix, like literally Phoenix, not like South Mountain, which is probably still considered Phoenix, but Trail 100 is a very popular trail as far as mountain biking goes. Hiking, it's very popular in general. It's 9 miles one way. So I also want to do that in one day as well, which honestly shouldn't be too hard. You're thinking like an average mile per hour of probably like 9 on those trails, maybe. So it's not crazy, stupid.
No, and it's sad too because I'll be sitting there the couple times I've gone, and I'm exhausted, like to the point where my legs are on fire, and I'm 1.5 to 2 miles in, right? And I'm like, somebody needs to come get me because I don't want to go back. And here comes this little old man on his bike, and he's just hauling ass. I'm like, you know what? If this guy's like 104 and he can do it, I better get my fat ass on the bike and I can pedal back down the hill. It's embarrassing. So that pushes me to go even more. And so I'll go, and like then I get done, and then I sit there and I'm like, that wasn't that bad. You know what I mean? I might be a little sore the next day. It's just the going and getting yourself up and just that whole routine. But I know, like right now, it's been nice, in the morning.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
I think maybe November. Once it gets like mid 80s in the day, I think it'll be so nice, and it doesn't matter what time of day you go. But I'm in. I'll go.
See, I love mountain biking, but like Ryan and his parents took me on one out here.
You need to give it another shot.
Why they tried to kill me because they're like, oh yeah, I hadn't like mountain biked. Like I like mountain biking in the woods, where there's always shade and everything. So we decided to go, and it's like 110 out, and it's like, oh yeah, this is just going to be a short 12-mile, bike ride. To which the first part of it was a blast. It had uphill, it had downhill. You had the perfect amount of everything. And we were going by this guy's recommendation where I had rented my bike through because I don't have one personally. And the guy's like, oh yeah, you're going to go around here and everything else. And there's just, it's worth it. There's this awesome downhill piece.
Flowy. Yeah, I remember this.
So we were like, okay, we're trying to get to it. And like, at that point, we're like 10 miles in because like you hit that halfway point and it was fine. And then it was just nonstop uphill. It was uphill. Felt like you went uphill for like 300 feet and downhill for like 3, and then uphill for another 300 feet. My hip flexors were just like dead by the time we hit 2/3 of the way. And I was like, this is no longer fun. And FYI, we never found the section that the guy had talked about. You guys have since found it.
Because the section that this guy told us about, like just picture a north map, like you're going north, right? The section of trail that he was talking about was 2 miles up this north section. All right, so just go 2 miles north. Okay, and you'll find the section, take a left. Yeah, jackass, you were wrong. It's 3 miles up the road, and then you take a left. So the whole thing, Ryan was pushing his ass off, just pushing hard to get to this thing. It'll be really fun, and we never freaking get there.
Yeah.
I was pissed off.
It was literally like then you ended up with this one piece that was an okay downhill section. And then you get into this super sandy area that was like this washed out little creek. And that was your trail back out to where the parking lot was, which was also like 3/4 to a mile long. And at that point, I'm like, I just have to walk this. Like, I got nothing else.
I feel you. You need to come again, though. You need to try it again because we pretty much have our trails down. Apache Wash is phenomenal as far as just like you can go any route you want. You can make it as easy as hard as you want because there's trails all over the place for everybody. And then same with where we went down in Granite Mountain as well. Same thing. We have a very solid idea of where we're going now. So it's all about knowing your trails.
Yeah.
Which you're never going to know if you don't go, right? You're never going to know your trails if you don't actually attend them and go to them. But it truly is all about knowing your trails. Because if you're feeling good, you're going to take a right and go this way. Mm-hmm. If you're feeling, everybody has those workouts where they're not feeling that great. And you'll just, perfect. I'll just take a left and head back.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just really all about knowing yourself and then knowing the trails.
Miles to
it. Yeah.
What it sounds like is that we should all go mountain biking and actually record our podcast while we're mountain biking.
Game on. I'll bring my boom. The boom will be like, my boom arm will be like on my backpack, and then it'll go like around into my face.
So Andy, how's it going? All right, Ryan, how do you feel? You okay? I don't even want to do this podcast right now.
Pretty much.
And I'll be like, come on, guys, push hard. I'm going to be one of those like aerobicizer like commercials where it's like, push.
You can do it.
Yep.
You ever seen that meme? Have you ever seen the meme where the ladies are on like the bouncy balls and then they're just bouncing, bouncing. And then all of a sudden they insert horses and they're like, yeah. No. Have you ever seen those?
I've seen that one. It's pretty funny.
It was hilarious.
Coconuts.
Oh gosh, this whole thing has been such a what do you want to call it? A hodgepodge.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right. Let's round it up because we're getting close to the end here. Let's do one more topic here. I got one more on the list because we just got finished with it, and I kind of think I might post two this week, two podcasts because we're always a couple weeks behind in posting them online. But I may do this one because it's relevant. Amazon Prime Day. I'm usually one that really loves it, mostly because I can
Who
easily.
doesn't? It's like a national holiday.
Should be.
I can be easily talked into buying stuff that I didn't need. Is essentially what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
But I gotta be honest, the last couple of years haven't been impressed, and this one kind of like if you wanted hard drives or some digital storage, which was relevant to me this year, like they had some killer deals. But like other than that, I just like, man, either I don't need the stuff or the stuff that I wanted it to be on sale was not on sale at all.
No, it was crap. I think I spent like $60. I didn't get much, but I was hoping for, computer gaming stuff and, like the one year when we worked I forget what year it was, maybe it was 2 years ago. We got that mini fridge. That was such a smoking deal on that thing. I think it was like $150 off. I was hoping for something like that. Nope.
Yeah, and that was my opinion as well. I looked through all the deals. I mean, I looked through kitchen.
Yeah.
I looked through electronics. I looked through home entertainment because I'm looking for like a new receiver, right? These speakers behind me have been, I bought those probably my freshman or sophomore year of college. So no joke, it's been like 8 or 9 years for those bad boys, and they're still kicking hard. So I'm looking to upgrade. I'm an adult now, right? Or half-ass an adult. So they were just garbage. I looked for everything.
Math class because you just went from 18 to 8 or 9.
Yeah, I know. I'm way off. That would have been like 2030.
So
2030.
Speaking of that, ironically enough, one of the ones that I've been kind of looking around at that my father actually ends up having because our front room TV has horrible speakers. Our back room's really nice, but it's one by Samsung and Costco has it. So I know Corey has a Costco card, so go check out those ones. If you want to spend like $800 and get the best damn thing you've ever heard in your life out of a soundbar, Sonos soundbar.
So it is a soundbar. That's what I was going to ask you. It's a soundbar.
Sonos soundbar is blown away. The Samsung one's like $125 or something. Really decent for what it is.
Okay, but here's my thing about that though. I'm in a small apartment now. Would a soundbar do what I need it to do? Absolutely, and more in a small ass apartment, right? Here's my thing though. I want to set myself up for the future. I'm not buying things for now. I'm buying things for when I get a house. And so that's why I'm looking geared more towards a receiver type deal because, potentially a pool. What house in Phoenix doesn't have a pool, right? Like a lot of homes have pools. So outside speakers, right? Set myself up for that. Multiple channels, right? So I would love a sound bar. I think it'd be great in a different room, like a small room, just like your front area room, Ryan. And I think it'd work great in my small apartment here, but that's why I was geared more towards a receiver.
Like I have a receiver that has 2 different zones and has an app that you can connect to and everything else. And so everybody on the stream knows, I'm literally a tech guy. That's my main piece of income.
That's your job.
Yeah, it's my job. So like I'm very techie and everything else. And like this thing, I have so many software problems with it. And it's a Denon, really expensive Denon receiver to be able to do things. And like all of them have like these weird limitations of you would think any input that you plug into the device, you should be able to do to any zone that's going on. No, like most of them, zone 2 that's outside, you can't do every single one that you can plug into it. You can't do HDMI to audio only. It has to be HDMI to something else that can also output HDMI, which is just baffling this day. So like I have I ended up getting a Chromecast audio, which doesn't exist anymore. That's plugged into like literally a $20 amp that I got off of Amazon. That still sounds amazing that I can just yell at Google to tell it what to do to control my outside stuff. And if that receiver broke, I would probably end up getting a soundbar or something. But it wouldn't be a cheap one. It would literally go to Costco and listen to the Bose one and listen to the Sonos one inside a massive warehouse. That thing puts off so much damn sound. It's pretty amazing.
That's crazy. And especially when you're moving into a smaller area, right? Like your living room is bigger than my whole apartment, to be honest, or at least actually probably
my
pretty
back room's
close.
600 square feet. Just the
yeah.
where the big
So I'm in 650, and to say that it sounds good in a Costco warehouse, that's saying something.
and $800 to $1,000, you're in a whole different realm.
Mhm.
But if you already talked about buying a receiver, which means you're talking about buying speakers, you know,
I'm
you're,
in $2,000.
you're up there anyway. So it's
Oh, yeah.
like literally that thing blew me away. I've never heard anything that
Interesting.
is soundbar that literally put out that type of sound. Andy, what do you got at your place? And
Yeah, so we have two. So my whole house is wired for surround sound, and we have downstairs in the basement, we have a Denon, and we also have the same in the upstairs. So in my living room is connected to my kitchen, and then we have two speakers on the wall where the TV is facing out, and then behind you in the ceiling in the kitchen are two additional speakers. But what we did, so they already had external speakers that were up plugged into the wall and coming out. So we got rid of that, and we put the speakers in the wall, and then the cover is just flush, but the speaker is tilted and it faces the living room. What I would have done, and it's all great, like I love it. And my buddy's dad, they actually have a audio visual business that he's been doing this for like 30 years. So the guy's like in his 60s. So he's a total geek and nerd about music and sound. And so I love, like, he's just an old hippie. And so he'll come over, and we know my buddy's kids, and you know, he knows our kids and all this. So he'll come over and hang out for like the whole day, and he'd make sure it's done right. But what I would have done is I would have put two speakers on the back wall where the kitchen is, so then it can produce. So then you've got speakers coming this way and then sound coming down. I would have done it that way, so you're fully immersed. But what we additionally did, we put two speakers outside where our patio is, because we put a pool in, and that's our second zone. And then I can control that through the Denon app. And then we have a little slider switch inside for volume. And I love, like, it's great, right? It works really well until I tried to I built a PVC movie theater screen, and then I got the thing. So we had like movie night one night before it got hot. I
Nice.
couldn't connect my movie sound to the outside speakers, so I had to use just a Bluetooth speaker to whatever. So that was the only issue, but it's we've never had any issues with the Denon. They've been really good, and the sound quality is phenomenal. The only issue that I have is connecting an external headset to it. And like at night, if I want to watch TV in the living room and everyone's asleep, it's loud, right? So I have Bluetooth that I can connect to the TV, but I can't connect to the surround sound. So I haven't gone that far to buy a headset yet, because they'd have to be connected to the Denon, and then I'd have to get wireless headphones for that. I just haven't really wanted to spend the money, because I'm like, I've got enough Bluetooth devices. I have my AirPods and whatnot, so I can listen, but that's my only complaint, is just having a better selection or options to connect to external speakers.
Mine is so old. My speakers are so old. They plug into my TV so they can get the sound of the TV. That's not an issue. The issue comes when you're on the couch and you want to adjust any type of volume. I have my volume of my TV turned down to 0.
Yeah.
Right? Because my speakers handle everything. Why do I need additional sources? And so anytime I want to adjust the volume, hey, Ryan, hey, Corey, go adjust the volume. Go turn it up. Go turn it down. We literally have to get up to our TV stand right behind me and go turn it up or down.
Because yours actually isn't like a normal set of speakers. It's like an old.
It's a
computer
desktop.
set of-
It's a monitor desktop speaker system. It is not meant for this, but it works,
which
right?
does
And
sound great, but
I
it
would
just,
buy it again. It's phenomenal, but it's not meant for, you know, an upgraded adult type life.
Yeah. Or lazy.
Well, you know, as you get older, you make more money. And when you make more money, Christmas is no longer a thing. You just buy whatever you want in the first place. We'll save that for a different day.
Nobody can buy me
Because
Christmas
I just
gifts
opened
at
up a
all.
can of worms there.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for ruining it.
But overall, I think Amazon Prime was kind of a flop this year, which I guess is a good. I didn't need to spend money. I just spent a ton of money on fixing things at my house these over the last couple of weeks. So definitely didn't need to spend anything. Sounds like you guys had the same experience.
Yeah.
Rolling into some time here, so let's wrap it up. Appreciate everybody listening. Please make sure that you subscribe to any of your podcast ones, so that way you get notified when we have new episodes.
Yeah, buddy.
And follow us anywhere and everywhere. Slightly Average Guys or individual, like I'm Slightly Average Ryan. Brian, I know you just changed your name on the
I changed my name on
Twitch.
Twitch. I changed my name on Instagram. I tried to change it on Snapchat. I couldn't, but Teeter_time, baby. Hit me up.
Andy, you gotten Twitch handled yet to be able to start streaming?
Yeah, but I don't have any content, so.
All right. So look for that coming soon. We'll be posting more stuff everywhere as we go. We're probably going to start doing a little bit of sometimes in pre-show, maybe sometimes after show that you guys will see in the stream. So look for that stuff. And we appreciate it, everybody.